Yes boys, welcome to the YouTube channel and welcome to the build of my Mk1 Scirocco Storm. I bought this car back in December 2021 and it's been sat in my unit ever since. In today's video we're going to be taking the interior out of the car and checking out how rusty the floor is, because as you can see there is a lot of rust on this car. I've had this car in my unit since 2021 boys, and it's finally time to start the build. So here is the project car that I bought in 2021 and I'm starting 4 years later in 2025. I've been waiting for the perfect time to start this build, and that time is now because it's winter time. I've tucked the Arosa away and we will be pulling that car out just before summer, just to do a couple of bits to prepare for summer. But for now, during the winter time, we're going to be focusing on the Scirocco. I picked this car up from a muddy yard in the middle of the UK. It was effectively sat in a swamp, and the guy that I got it off said that the guy that previously owned it also had it sat outside, neglected for years before he bought it. So this car's been sat outside for a good 10 years at least, just being neglected and rotting away. But it's all good because we're going to be restoring the car and it will live the rest of its life being looked after the way it always should have been. So, a little bit of history about the Mk1 Scirocco. Firstly, the Mk1 Scirocco was the first hot hatch that Volkswagen ever produced. It was also one of the first cars that was produced under the collaboration of Volkswagen and Audi. It was made on their A1 platform, which was their first platform that they made together, which is the same platform as the Mk1 Golf, Scirocco, Caddy, and pretty much every Mk1 Volkswagen, because there's different variations of the A1 platform, which are like for the Polo and stuff like that. So the A1 platform is what the Scirocco was built on. The Mk1 Scirocco was released 6 months prior to the Mk1 Golf. Even though Volkswagen had already designed and manufactured everything needed and there was cars ready to be sold of the Mk1 Golf, they released the Mk1 Scirocco as a way to test the public, make sure they're happy with the platform, the way it drove, and they loved it. So they released the Mk1 Golf, which went on to be the birth of the biggest hot hatch brand ever. Volkswagen sold around 500,000 Mk1 Sciroccos, which sounds like a lot, but if you compare it to the 7 million Mk1 Golfs they sold, it just puts it into perspective how rare they are. Out of the 500,000 Mk1 Sciroccos sold, only 600 were Storm editions, which again shows how rare they are. But to go a step further, according to DVLA records, there's only around 13 left on UK roads, and they were only ever released in the UK. So that means there's around 13 of these in the world. So yeah, it is a pretty rare car, and there is a lot of stuff that's special about the Storm compared to the normal Scirocco, but we'll go over that in a different video. But as you can see, we've got the interior out now, so let's have a little walk around the car and I'll walk you through the rust and the dodgy repairs that have been done on this car. So let's just start in the engine bay. So as you can see, it's been painted brown, and there's been a lot of repairs that have been done in this car. It looks like this has been changed, both sides. The front panel is really good, which again, I'm happy about that. You'll probably notice, if you know about Mk1 chassis, you'll probably notice these are not the standard mounts in the car. There was actually a V6 TDI bolted in this thing, and it looks like it's been done pretty professionally. So it looks like it's been at a fabrication shop and they've done all the mounts, because they're really good, to be honest. We're going to be cutting them all out and redoing all of that anyway. And that leaves the question, well, what engine is going in it? And it's going to be, so the bonnet, it's a religious bonnet, we'll put it at that. It's got quite a lot of holes in it, it's quite holy. It's rotten, it's no good. I do actually have for this hull already a bonnet, a set of wings, a set of doors and a boot. They're not all perfect, they're not all 100% like put it on and it's good. They'll need some work, but it's really hard to find clean panels for these cars just because of obviously their age. We've got all the original headlights and everything, which are in pretty good condition. Set of ray dot fog lights as well, which are pretty cool. Let me take the cover off so you can see. Look at that. All right, they're pretty cool. So we're probably going to keep them, to be honest. I like them. So obviously both wings are very rusty, and the really annoying thing about these wings is they must have been new wings at some point, because they're, you know, they're so evenly rusted, it's almost like they've been left in primer, and all the rot that is on there is from where it's been sitting. The actual wings are solid, like everything here was completely solid. So these are not completely in the bin, but I did get another set just because they were available. But there, you probably can't see on camera. But, I mean, they're not straight. There's definitely been something banged on there. I think the same on this side as well. Yeah, it's just all wavy. We've got another set. We'll sort that, but I'm not too worried about the body panels at the moment. I really just want to sort out the shell. So around the windscreen, a lot of bubbling, you know, standard Mark 1 stuff really. Like even the Mark 1 Golf, they're renowned for the you know, the bottom of the windscreen going. This has had a little patch, which has actually been done pretty well. It obviously needs cleaning up, but this patch has been done semi-decent. So, you know, I've given that, whoever did that one, well done. Doors, I mean, both sides pretty much the same. It's had this section repaired, panel on there, and this side, same thing. Panel there, little panel there, panel there. It's also had a little panel on the top. But the one thing I will say about the panels that have been made is that the actual panels themselves are really well made. Like, if you look at the shape of them, it's really good. But it's just whoever's stuck them on, they need the red testing really. Little panel there as well. The boot, that will go through. Bubbled all the way along. Rear arch, obviously we know this side's got the panel on, which will need cutting off. And this side, passenger arch, had a little panel there. Gone, needs replacing, needs fixing. The overriding message, this car is rusty. There's a lot of cutting, grinding, welding that needs doing, but it's all good, that's what we're here for. Right, so now we're in the car, you can see up there, there's a load of rust, which is not ideal. And there's also been a panel that's been put on from the other side, from inside of there, but it's not been welded like flush, it's just been welded over the top. This kind of repair is what is going to be here, so that's why we need to redo them. But if we're just looking at the floor, this has had panel welded in the inner sill, which not sure. I'm going to try and get a pair of inner sills for this so I can replace both sides, because this side also needs doing. But we've got just a lot of surface rust, a couple of holes there, little hole there, little hole there, big hole there. So let's start at the back of the car, where it's not too bad, to be honest with you. I mean, normally on these chassis rails go, all in here goes, which yes, you know, there is some rust, and we don't 100% know the full extent of the rust on this car until we get everything cleaned off. But first glances, it's not as bad as it. You look at the outside of the car and you think, oh my God, this is terrible. But it's not as bad as you first think. So normally all these chassis rail goes, they feel solid. You know, there's a bit of surface, but we'll see when we take all the underseal off and everything. So this is a pretty smart idea, I must admit. It looks like the bottom of an oil barrel that's been welded in. But the good news is it looks like they haven't cut any of the floor out to make this fit. So hopefully we should be able to drill the thing. It looks like they've seam welded it along here. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge. We'll probably cut it and then grind it back. But whatever, we're going to probably get that out. And you can't actually buy replacement ones of these, but it's fine. There's a little hint for what we're doing. We're going to be putting a blanking plate in this and getting rid of this completely. So not to worry about that. So here's this side. You can see a bit of surface rust everywhere, but overall not too bad. Fuel tank, not rotten. Normally they rot as well. So handbrake cables are still attached. The tubes, they're still attached to the car, which is good. Bit of rust here, look, bit of surface. Well, that's not surface, that's kind of all splitting apart. So getting into the juicy bit, this is the bottom of the passenger footwell, which, yeah, is completely rotten. So I'm probably going to end up cutting this entire floor out and replacing it, because you can actually buy the floor sections in left and right. So I can literally get the floor from here right the way down to the front. And then obviously subframe, general surface rust. The actual frame's not too bad. It's already had notches, which again, these look like they've been done properly. You can see by the quality of the welds that they definitely look like they've been done by someone that knows what they're doing. But we're going to clean everything up anyway. Everything's going to be stripped back, which let's just now talk about the plan for the car and, yeah, moving forward, what we're going to be doing. So to wrap this video up, I just want to go over the basic plan for the next few videos and what I'm going to be getting on with. So Next video is probably going to be another stripping video. Strip all the panels off, both bumpers, wings, bonnet, doors, boot. With the doors, I'm probably going to leave them complete with all the door cards, seals, everything on them, and just store the doors for now, just so everything stays together. Same with the boot, leave the glass in, window wiper, lock, badges, everything on it, just so everything is like, it's literally like Lego, and all I've got to do is put the new doors on and swap everything over when we get to that point. I'm also going to have to tackle getting the headliner out, which I really don't want to do because the headline is so good, as you can see. It's a little bit dirty, but there's no rips or anything. There's a little tiny hole in the driver's side, but you know, not too bad. I'm also going to be trying to get my hands on a rollover jig. So the plan is to strip everything off on the ramp or in this area, get all the exterior panels off, everything from underneath, leave it as a rolling shell, and then when we get a rollover jig, we'll put it in the corner, we'll clean out the corner and get it on a spit roast, and then we can just work on it like that and make everything so much easier, because there is a lot of welding to do on this car. I just want to let you lot know that this car is going to be the car that I learned to weld on. So it's going to be a learning experience, it's going to be interesting. And what better car to learn on than this absolute beauty? That's pretty cool, isn't it? I hope you lot enjoyed this video and you're excited for the build just as much as I am. As you can probably tell, I am new to making these kind of videos, and I'm definitely overthinking it a lot. Like, I'm trying to make it perfect. I'm trying to like do all this stuff when I don't know what I'm doing. So boys, just bear with me. Let me know what I can do to improve. And for now, I'm just going to capture what I can, put it together as best I can. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, thank you boys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.